Hello, here at the cusp of Lifecycles Act 2 with many new and exciting features. This is Venu, the developer of Drunk On Nectar. First up, let's take a look at ballooning. It's a new day, the golden light of dawn is upon us, and I'm off to go ballooning in the air. Jump over here, hop along, another hop, use the new sprinting mode. Alright, while we wait for the flowers to bloom, let me talk a bit about ballooning. Ballooning is a dispersal strategy used by spiderlings to travel over large distances. If you think of how a plant spreads its seeds far away from itself through various strategies, ballooning is the spider equivalent of that. For me, the game reached a point where 25 hungry jumping spiders simply could not be sustained on a single plant or a single leaf. So I had the choice of either reducing the number of siblings, but that wouldn't be fun, or I had to take up the burden of trying to find some way to make them all succeed. And ballooning is one part of the answer to that. We'll take a look at some of the other parts of that later, but for now, let's get up in the air. Right, we are off. And this is one of my favorite parts of Act 2. I just really enjoy the view, just getting up here and just floating around. And this is also a rare opportunity for players to get a sense of the size and scale of the game, because although the size is not much to write home about from a human standpoint, if you think of the scale of this game, the fact that you were born on a tiny leaf, around half of which was your egg sac, and you were a tiny egg on that sac, and the whole sac was like a mini level or a world onto itself. And now the fact that there are thousands upon thousands of such leaves out here, and potentially every single one of them could host, dozens upon dozens of such spiders. That's the kind of scale and immensity which I really hope players will enjoy as the game continues to grow over time. Because as the game continues to grow, that sense of enormity will also grow along with it. And we are drifting towards the lake. I was lucky enough to get a lakeside map for this demo, but it doesn't happen every time. Ballooning is obviously subject to chance, so I have no idea where you as player are going to end up. And at the very least, I can guarantee that if you stray too far, the game will kind of rescue you and plunge you in the opposite direction. But more than that, nobody knows. And that's one of the fun parts about ballooning to me. But anyway, for the sake of this demo, I'm going to snip the thread, which you as a player can do too. And we're going to land. Let's look at the new population density system. This is a system which allows the game to support thousands of creatures on the map and literally hundreds of creatures on each leaf, all of that with life cycles, thus turning each leaf or flora into a mini or a micro scaled world of its own. So let's check out that leaf over there to see what I'm talking about. Again, use the new sprinting mode, which doesn't have animations yet. So you can modulate your speed pretty nicely now. You can either sneak or you can sprint. All the rest of it. This is a nice opportunity to show you the improved visuals. This is something I'm really enjoying. I just like getting up to really large grasshoppers and watching them do their thing. At some point I'm going to have it so that you fall down when you get too close, or you get eaten up, but see. But anyway, just take a look at that. Check out the number of creatures on this leaf. The sheer variety and the number of creatures out here was simply not possible before. Um, if I go to sandbox mode later, I'll show you the exact number, but for now let's look at the inhabitants. This is a tiny little second instar. This is not a first instar. The first instar is even smaller than that. That's the new species, the leaf hopper. I'm trying my best to see if I can spot. Oh, here we go. That tiny little thing over here is a first instar leaf hopper. Just look at the size of that. We are a pretty tiny speck on the map ourselves. This creature is even several times smaller than us. To be precise, it's 0.66 millimeters in size. and you have many of them running around this leaf, and you have some of the other larger ones like the second instars, and we have our familiar grasshopper friends. So they last I checked there were around 150 creatures on a leaf like this, but for the sake of the demo I've toned them down. Oh, we have uninvited guests out here. So this is an opportunity for me to show you. You can now it went away. I was going to show you how you can now ride larger creatures, but looks like that's going to have to wait for another demo. But oh no. There are these glitches where creatures, flying creatures end up upside down, but I'll fix them over time. Anyway, the key takeaway from this is that no matter where players go, you're always going to have sufficient prey available for you, and that used to be one of the big problems with the game. Players used to say that there's just not enough prey to go around. You don't need to worry about that anymore. I can assure you of that, because the game now has thousands of creatures on the map, and you have life cycles for all of them. So if I move out of this leaf, go to another part of the map, I really want to. It didn't quite work the way I wanted to, but yeah, this is what I wanted to show. You now have the ability to mount not just your own mom, but other creatures. It's not perfect yet because I'm still working on it, but this is an unexpected digression, but let's see where this goes. The feature is not quite ready, as I said, but oh. I think the tiger beetle is a poor test subject because it's just so fast. I now have the ability to support an unlimited number of creatures in the game, or at least from the player's point of view, it's going to seem unlimited. And these are not just props. As I said earlier, I have life cycles running for all of these, and it's been built in such a way that you don't need a supercomputer to run it. It's going to run on pretty much any system that supports the minimum requirements of the game. And this was my grand solution as to how I'm going to feed 25 hungry AI jumping spiders. Now there's enough to go around for everyone. The AI can do its thing. In fact, this one's much larger than us already. And you as a player have the same opportunity too. And not to mention the dragonflies. So anyway, this is the new population density system for the game, where population is not just measured in absolute terms like it was before, but you now have population density where certain species are going to be represented in certain parts of the map in certain proportions, and this ensures that as a player or as the AI, there's always enough to go around. And this concept will be expanded over time in many different ways, but for now this is a good starting point, I think. Alright, here in sandbox mode, let's take a closer look at the new species, the leaf hopper. I don't have the thumbnails yet, so you'll just have to imagine that. But I'm going to make a spiral of many different leaf hoppers. Third and fourth. There's not much point playing with the adult because they have wings and they are just going to fly away, but let's take a closer look. The adults probably have a slightly more familiar look, but check out the scale of this. Here we have the first instars, they're practically invisible. I should make a demo. Alright, that's going to be a part of the intro. But anyway, let's just see how small they are. I'm going to play as one of them, the first instar. No, this is the second, but it's not a bad start. Just look at how small the first instars are. And like the grasshoppers, you can jump around. But anyway, there's not much to be said about a leafhopper because they have quite simple habits. They belong to the order of sap-sucking insects. There's a whole lot of them. So they have a rostrum, which is their mouth part, with which they rupture the plant's veins and extract nutriment from that. I'm just recording stills for the intro. Oh, there's a grasshopper over there as well. But anyway, so we have life cycles for grasshoppers and leafhoppers now. It's without the mating and reproduction bit, but it is pretty functional. And for Act 2, it's going to play a pretty vital role. Okay, before we wrap up this video, I wanted to give you a sense of how small these creatures are in relation to an adult jumping spider. So here we are. I'm playing as a female adult. You can immediately notice that the perspective is so different. And as I come over here, check out how small these creatures are. Many of these once towered over us when we were playing as the third insta, but now they're practically invisible. And that's a kind of surprise which Act 2 is going to offer for you, because you started off as a really small creature, and on the way you encountered other small creatures such as the first install leafhopper, and I have to thank our community member Water Nebula for that, because that's where the idea came from. There was a post this member made about how great it would be to be a small creature but then still be larger than other small creatures like the leafhopper. And now that you're finally an adult towering over all of them, I think that circle of scale immersion, for lack of a better word, is complete. So thanks to our community member for inspiring me to add the leafhopper. It was part of the plan, but I was going to skip it because there just wasn't enough time. But thanks to that extra bit of motivation, we finally have the leafhopper in the game. Anyway, to wrap up this video, let's fly around as a leafhopper adult because they have wings. And let's take to the skies. Okay, so when is Act 2 going to release? That's a good question. I'm still not entirely sure yet because there's still a lot of depth and a lot of scope for further expansion. For instance, I want to get aphids into the game. I think with the new population density simulation, aphids will do really well in that kind of setup. And then springtails. There's not much going on the landscape floor right now, so I think springtails would fill that void up pretty well. And then finally there's the actual gameplay part of Act 2, because although all the parts and pieces are here, most players need a structured format like quests and a general guideline or a roadmap to guide them through everything that Act 2 has to offer. Many players such as myself, we just like getting thrown into a game and figuring it out, but I think the evidence is clearly on the side of that vast majority of players do need or do enjoy that kind of an experience. So I have a wide variety of quests planned, and these quests are going to be a virtual tour through everything that Act 2 and by extension everything that Drunk On Nectar has to offer for you. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. I really enjoyed sharing more of Act 2 with you, and it's not long now. Act 2 is going to release sooner or later. So thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for your interest in Drunk On Nectar. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around and watching my videos on my channel and playing the game. Thank you.